Anger, sadness, and tears at the state capitol today. Victims of shootings that shook the state are fighting for tougher gun control laws. It was an emotional push to close the so-called gun show loophole.
Lawmakers, law enforcement officers, and victims' families made passionate pleas.
Lacey Crisp was at the capitol, and she explains what's at stake.
5 months ago today, Zina Daniel and 2 others were shot and killed at the Azana Spa. Today, her brother was at the Capitol urging lawmakers to pass background check legislation.
I truly believe in the bottom of my heart that has there been a universal background check done back then, there's a pretty good chance that my sister Zina would still be with us.
Emotions are still raw for Elvin Daniel, who was grieving his sister, who was killed by her estranged husband, Radcliffe Houghton. He bought a gun from a private citizen to avoid a background check, a check he would not have passed.
I urge our lawmakers to please pass the background check.
The proposal would force anyone selling a gun to do a background check on the buyer. The co-authors of the bill say private sellers could go through a licensed gun dealer to do the background check, and guns given to family members would be exempt. Democratic lawmakers argue we've seen enough tragedies not to pass this legislation.
Much longer do we consider dead 6-year-olds, domestic violence victims, and other innocent victims of gun crimes to be acceptable losses, just collateral damage, sacrifice for easy access to guns?
Milwaukee Police Chief Ed Flynn argues guns were used in 75% of the homicides in Milwaukee. And how many of those guns were purchased legally?
Well, I haven't got that with me right now. What we did was we looked at the global picture of how many firearms we've seized that were in the streets illegally.
Republicans argue they would rather enforce laws already on the books.
I would rather go after people who commit crimes in a more vigorous way and make sure they're locked up.
There's no word yet on when the bill could be up for a vote. On your side at the Capitol, Lacey Crisp, today's TMJ4.
A Marquette Law School poll just released says 81% of Wisconsin residents would support background check legislation.